Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of WCW 2002. It's time for the Monday Night Nitro after Superbrawl, a pay-per-view that saw Booker win the title over Vampiro, and Sting return when Vampiro tried to attack Booker after the match. DDP get a win over Ric Flair. Scott Steiner get a win over Chuck Palumbo. Tajiri hold the Cruiserweight title over Jamie Noble. Team Canada keep their hold on the WCW Tag Team titles by defeating the ad hoc team of Alex Wright and Ray Jr. Jeff Jarrett defeating Billy Kidman to take back the U.S. title after some interference from Ray Jr. backfired after the other Horsemen got involved. And then we also had Dustin Rhodes lose to Shane Helms after the match, Shane Helms went for the vertebreaker on Dustin Rhodes, and Lex Luger made his return to WCW, making the save. And let's see what happens here on Nitro. So first, in a pre-show match, Fit Finlay defeated Disco Inferno in 9:49 with a Tombstone Piledriver, 59C. Nothing special, but just a match, just to get people working, who I don't have working any real big plans for this cycle. And then, another pre-show match, we had Air Paris and AJ Styles, also known as Air Raid, defeat the Mamelukes, Jason Jett and Jamie Noble, and Kid Romeo and Shannon Moore in 15:05. So yeah, just a pre-show match involving some people who partners have matches tonight, and some tag teams that don't have anything doing tonight. Again, Styles got a 54, Paris got a 50, Bull and Vito were in the 30s, Noble and Jet were solid, and yeah. So now onto the actual show. So, we've got Eric Bischoff opening the show, putting over Superbrawl, how much great action there was last night. He puts over the fact that Booker T is still the champion, but we still need a new number one contender. So, there's going to be a three-way tonight between Scott Steiner, DDP, and Kanyon, who all won matches, and the winner of that match tonight will take on Booker at the next pay-per-view, which is no longer called On Sister, but I'm calling Rising Fury. 83B+, because Bischoff's a good character, even though he might have been a bad general manager, or vice president of WCW, whatever his job was. Anyway, 83+, perfectly good opening. Then our opener, we've got Billy Kidman defeating Hugh Morris in 6:06 with a Shooting Star Press. Actually, really good match, 68C+. Hugh Morris doesn't suit his gimmick, but I don't care because he's Hugh Morris. Kidman got a 71, Hugh Morris got a 51. Then after the match, Kidman calls out Jarrett, says he'll take the U.S. title by himself, in a rematch. That's a nice reference to Billy Kidman. To Ray Jr., unfortunately, getting, involved last time and screwing things up. And Tori Wilson helped Kidman during that segment. And by helping, I mean she looked hot and made sure people were still paying attention. 68C+, that's not bad for Kidman. He's not exactly the best talker in the world. And then we're backstage where Chavo is with Mike Sanders, who's, I had him a few segments, sort of talking to each other the last month or so. And Chavo is backstage with Mike Sanders. Sanders said he's got Chavo a match. He says, don't worry, it was a blank contract, so, can't be anybody too difficult for him to beat. Explains, you get back on TV, Chavo, and get some wins, so the WCW rest has to take care of you. 45D, just a setup for something later tonight. And then backstage, Stacy's backstage in catering, or getting her makeup, or some backstaging, and then Ric Flair comes up, does Ric Flair things, hits on Stacy. We're ignoring the whole David Flair thing, because Russo never happened. I repeat, Russo never happened. And then Palumbo interrupts them. They share a quick stare down. Ric Flair woos, makes a little calming motion to Stacy, and then he walks off. 78B, the performance of Ric Flair was fantastic, because of course it was. Then we've got the Road Warriors coming back after Road Warrior Hawk was on vacation for a month because of the drinky and the druggy, and they won the match in a minute 44 over Hook Bomberry and TJ Perkins. Doomsday Device, just total squash. Return 4060. And now, let's see. This will determine the future of the tag division. Hawk. Okay. So they celebrate. They cut a promo. If you notice what that said, Rotary Hawk was on drugs. So Rotary Animal cuts most of the promo, and that's about it. 49D+, but this doesn't really matter since you saw what happened to Hawk. Then we have DDP doing a backstage promo on both Kanyon, on his Steiner, and even on the world champ Booker T, says it doesn't matter, who's in front of him. He's got the people behind him, and, people have a great match at Rising Fury when it's, the the People's Champion versus the World Champion, but it doesn't matter, Booker, because you're going to feel the bang. ADC of B+, DDP performance was good. The next up, we've got a 4-way Cruiserweight match. We've got Cash defeating Illich Skipper, Yang and Courageous in 702, and Cash defeated Evan Courageous by pinfall with a handful of tights. So I expect this to be like your typical like high-flying Cruiserweight match, and then in the end, like maybe Yang's hit a big move, but Cash tosses him, and then Cash hits a quick roll-up to get the pin. Cash got a in-ring performance of 58, Skipper 54, Yang 58, and Courageous gets 41, for a total of 57 C-. Not too bad. And then after the match, Cash and Reno just take out Yang post-match. I imagine like, Yang is, yelling at Cash for getting, basically stealing pin, and Reno just wallops from behind, and then they hit like a double team powerbomb type of move. And Reno came across well because I judged him completely on Menace, and 56 C-. And then we've got sort of a big angle, as, basically we're coming back from commercial, and something like, something resembling Jerry Lawler's theme music comes out. I'm sure there's some royalty-free version of that sounds like, a King's music. Anyway, he comes out, he soaks in, whatever pops he gets, probably a pretty decent one, because even though he's only been off TV a little bit. For those of you who don't remember, near the end of 2001, WWF fired Miss Kitty, Kat, Stacey Carter, and Jerry Lawler quit WWF in solidarity. Note, those two broke up not long after, and Lawler was back soon after. But, that has happened so far, so Jerry Lawler comes out, he's in WCW, after, enjoying the response, he then, insults the WCW fans, he calls them, a bunch of hicks and rednecks, ignore the fact we're in California, says that, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, none of those people, they wrestled all over the world, but they never came to Memphis because they were afraid of the King, and that's why he's in WCW, to, make those old has-beens realize they never were truly royalty, because he's Jerry Lawler, he's the king of wrestling, and then near the end, he even, says, even my son's better than the Rhodes, he never had to dress up in face paint, he never had to talk about being, he never had to turn on his daddy, nothing like that. And then, and then at that point, Dustin and Dusty come out, Dustin says, he may have never, he may have had to put on some face paint, but he also never had to, dance with a fat man with a thong on to get the crowd to respond to him. And then we got, a showdown. 74 B-. Have average for Lawler. I'm not actually sure what I'm doing with Lawler yet, so this is sort of like a vague thing I'm doing for the moment. And then, Chavo with Sanders calls out opponent, and then it's Lex Luger. Lex Luger is back. Yeah, he came back last night to save Shane Helms save Dustin Rhodes from Shane Helms, but this time it's Luger back in the ring, so 59C, because Chavo and Mike aren't really that over, and in the ring we have a 69C+. So yeah, Luger just defeats Chavo in 553 by submission with a torture rack. 69C+. Chavo kind of carried this, because of course he did, because it's Lex Luger in 2002. Remember what we're working with. And then Luger, I imagine Sanders comes in at this point, to sort of yell at Luger, so Luger wrecks him as well, and then he celebrates. 78B, again, Luger's back, yay, everybody be happy. And then we have a Horseman backstage promo, Jarrett, Flair, Douglas, Kanyon, Lawler. They talk about DDP, they talk about Booker T, they talk about Scott Steiner, they talk about Billy Kidman. They put over the fact, they're Horsemen, they're still the most dominant faction in professional wrestling. And even though it's not, and after tonight, they'll be back on the road towards the world title. Jarrett, has the U.S. title, and, you never know what the Horsemen will do. But it'll be fantastic because we're the goddamn Horsemen. Kenny was a real star in this segment. 92A. Yeah, not too bad. Really good. And then after that, so basically coming back from commercial, Jarrett and Douglas defeat Norman Smiley and Aaron Miller in 757 when Douglas defeats Miller by pinfall with the belly-to-belly suplex. It just sort of a straight-up, quasi-squash. 70C+, nothing too great, but also nothing too terrible either. And then Jarrett and Douglas celebrate, says they'll shut up Kidman, and then show Tori what a good man is like. Or show Tori what a real man is like, rather. 75 B-, this just, puts over the Jarrett Kidman program and lets Kidman be kind of creepy and Evil by saying he'll show Troy what a real man is like. And then we have just a straight up Jared and Stacey at promo with Dawn Marie. They're unhappy the fact that a team that barely teamed together like Ray Jr. and Alex Wright got a tag team title shot. Well, they haven't. So they challenged Ray Jr. and Alex Wright for next week. And 6EC, just sort of your straight ahead promo. And then this is like right before the commercial break, before the main event. Looks like Steiner's locker room is chained up. We have like backstage workers. They tell Bischoff, sort of like it's going to take us, like half an hour to get this off. Bischoff shrugs, and then he like tells like a PA to tell Kanyon and DDP it's a singles match now. 86B plus, and who chained up Steiner's door so he couldn't actually have the match tonight? I wonder. And then we actually have our actual main event, which is Kanyon drawing with DDP in 1404 when the match descended into chaos after Ric Flair, joining Lawler, and Sean O'Haire all became involved. So yeah, this is just a total mess. So first Ric Flair getting involved, Lawler interfering for Kanyon. Then we have Sean O'Haire getting some payback for, Kanyon, beating him with help from Lawler last night. And at that point, the ref just throws it all out. So yeah, as a test, I had them call in the ring. I guess they failed. 73B minus. Nothing too bad yet. And then we have a brawl. The brawl continues. Booker eventually comes out. He makes a save, helps out, O'Haire and DDP. But then, as they're getting rid of the heels, Booker T bumps into DDP, and on instinct, DDP hits the diamond cutter on Booker. 89A, hot finish of the show. We put over the fact that we still don't have a definite number one contender yet, but also that, maybe there's some tension between DDP and Booker now, considering DDP nailed him with a diamond cutter. And we end the show with 82B. So again, really good show, increased popularity, and yeah, began some stories, and continued some other stuff. So we'll do what we need to do with the Road Warriors after this, and then we'll see what Raw also did, and if there's anything else weird and wacky happening in the world of professional wrestling in this alternative version of 2002. So first, let's see if there's any email except for the usuals. Nope, nothing that important. Okay. And yeah. Okay, well, you're going to rehab. And that means with absolutely nothing for the Road Warriors to do, Road Warrior Animal, I'm sorry, buddy, but you are going down to train again. Yeah, I don't care that you don't have the skills. There's nothing for you to do here because you're Road Warrior Animal in 2002. So let's see here. Let's just see the news. Oh, wow. So, Hardy Boys solo pushes, so that's interesting. Remember, this is an in-game thing that did not happen a whole much, but Hardy Boys are doing solo pushes. So let's just see if that actually happened last night in Raw's War. So we got Kishi defeating Albert, Austin going to no contest with William Regal, Austin Triple H Kurt Angle skit, Angle going to no contest with Bray Dudley, a Rock Edge skit, Eddie Guerrero defeating Vesper for the Intercontinental title, and The Rock defeating Scott Hall by DQ. So nothing yet, but 90A, because, it's 2002 WWE, so they have the type of roster that can spit out 95 A's while not actually doing anything. But anyway, that's it for now. So, tell me what you like, what you didn't like, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week I'll see you again, soon again. Wow, words. I'll see you soon for another week of WCW 2002. Adios.